We had a long tradition for a very long time. We lost that. But the only reason we lost is because I just don't believe the community believes in Manual the way they used to.
It's a swagger, honestly. It's a physical, nasty type of football. You know, it can't be replicated.
Well, the city section used to be maybe the premier section in the state as far as delivering top athletes.
Y'all gotta want it every second, every minute.
In football, deep tradition, 17 championships? And when I grew up coming to Manual in the 70s, I think our last title was probably mid-60s out of that 17-year or 15-year run. But the tradition stayed strong. The tradition was very strong, actually, and we turned around in the 80s and won back-to-back titles in the 80s. So we've always been very competitive. A lot of players that went to the pros. We had a long tradition for a very long time. We lost that. But the only reason we lost is because I just don't believe the community believes in Manual the way they used to. You know, things have changed. I mean, with the charter schools, with the private schools, you know, kids going to different schools because they might be recruited. And so they go to different areas because they might have a better football program or a better basketball program or a better baseball program. And so they're not really looking at the traditions of their community. And I really believe that's been lost.
Well, the city section used to be maybe the premier section in the state as far as delivering top athletes, whether it's Hall of Famers in football, basketball, and baseball. It's before the private schools came to pretty much dominate, the city section was the place to be. There were fewer schools in Southern California, and most people went to their neighborhood schools. So the public schools in Los Angeles were big time, particularly in the inner city. So you had so many great athletes and teams developing. Manual Arts used to be a great football powerhouse. Education-wise, I think people were disappointed in LAUSD and academics, and so there were much more options. School choice came into play in the 1990s, allowing people to choose whatever public school they wanted. And then you had the advent of charter schools, forcing schools to lose enrollment, and therefore not all the players went to the same schools anymore.
All them extra reps we get taken in the weight room and practice, all that pays it now. That comes to life. We don't work hard just to lay down, all right? No mercy. Go hard on every snap, man. 10% better every day. 10%, not 110. Let's go, bring it in. Let's go! Let's go! No mercy, all right? Let's go, follow me, follow 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You have programs that, you know, athletics is just something we offer. And you have programs that athletics is what we live by. You go to Hamilton High School, Manual Arts High School, Jefferson High School. You would think you're back in 1943 when you look at the facilities. And you know, so it's a matter of, you know, how important is it? Are we offering athletic programs to really establish a competitive nature? Are we offering athletic programs on a recreational budget just to say that we have these programs for these kids? And that's a big difference.
We the only reason why we walk out with a winner trophy, bro. I mean, with a winner loss. We can beat ourselves, but we can lose to ourselves, bro. Let's go out there and get it done, man. They can't touch us, man. Only we can fuck with us. Y'all got me? Y'all got me?
At Locke, you know, I was always trying to build a program, and then kids that I do get to come play for me and stuff. When it's tough in the school or whatever, sometimes I do feel like I was giving them a disservice because they was in a hood school when I felt like they could have been somewhere else. So, you know, it ain't all on me. You know, you got to team up with the administrators, the teachers, you know, and try to make it a better place. But at times you do feel like you're giving a kid a disservice because they can be at a school that got a lot of more, avenues.
So his biggest thing is that he lets you know what is expected of you. He lets you know what he plans to get out of you. From the first conversation that I've had with him, he asked me what position I played, what my goals were, and then he told me, like, straight up, you're gonna have to work for it. And he's made me grow up. He made me come to age in the sense that like, he molded me into the person that I am now. He let me know that he let me know the things that I did well, but he emphasized my weaknesses, and he did the same for the team. And I guarantee you, every player on the football team, they feel the same way. Like, he really is a father figure in that sense. I would be lost, honestly. Like, I would honestly be lost, because without him, I wouldn't have such an intensity, and without that intensity, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
University of Southern California Trojans, 1979. On the backside it says Tails and Athletic Heritage. This is what we're going to flip today, okay? And number 12, you're the spokesman, okay? I'm going to flip it and catch it, but I need your call before I flip the coin. What would you like? Tails. Tails. He likes tails, okay? And it is heads. Okay, Black, you've won the toss. You want to receive. Okay, good. Which way do you want to kick?
I kick it that way.
Okay, so you turn your back around that way. Black has won the toss and will receive at this end. All right, gentlemen, shake hands.
Hey, man, you did like 10 push-ups before you came. Oh, on the field, like. I like it, though.
Let's get it.
Let me at the field like. Let me at the field like. Oh, bitch, like.
It's a swagger, honestly. It's a physical, nasty type of football. You know, it can be replicated, and it's just so much swagger that goes along with it.
What's swagger?
It's a character. You know, it's a way of presenting yourself.
Hey, let's go defense. Let's make a statement. Hey, let's make a statement. Let's go. Hey, defense. Screen out. Defense. Screen out. Let's go. Strap up. Spread. Hey, strap up. Let's go.
Coach talked about, like, there's a lot of outside influences, whether that be gangs or other external things in the community. How have you been affected by those things?
Well, I live in Watts, so there's a couple of gangs over by me. So every day I have to kind of maneuver so that I don't run into them. But they're out and they're around. Not being able to go to like grocery stores and stuff like that. Like, they will try like to influence you just to try to get you to join. But for the most part, if you're strong-minded, then you know to resist. Sometimes there may be like actual conflicts, like actual standings where you guys might conflict, but you just pray that those days don't come,
I try my best to keep it in their ear to stay away from it, because like I say, when I played junior college ball, and it was a time that right after practice I went home and I ended up getting shot, you know what I mean, with my football stuff on. Like, so I always let them know, and I let them hear that, that story, and you got to stay out the way. You can't play both sides. I was playing at Compton College. My coach was Cardell Ward. He used to always tell us, like, stay out the way, the same stuff that I tell my kids. And my brother picked me up from practice that time, and instead of going straight home, I kind of went around the corner where a couple of the friends was, homies or whatever, and somebody came through and they were shooting at the pack, and I ended up getting hit once in my leg, and that stopped my season that year. Moms and pops always told me to stay out the way, I grew up in the neighborhood, been there all my life, I don't consider myself as a gang member, but everybody know me. My dad coached at the park. My dad was a probation officer. My dad coached high school. He also was on the staff. The guys that I named you, my dad was on that staff. So they always told me to stay out the way, but just because of who I was and knowing the people, I got caught up in that situation.
That's the selfish.
Don't point the finger. It's some shit you ain't doing out there.
Hey, listen up.
Last night, my older cousin came in. My best cousin, he called me and told me he promised he was coming to my game. He got shot last night. This is what they told me. All he ever wanted to do was play football. He never got to see me play. He got shot last night. Stay out these streets. It's not for y'all. It's not for nobody. Hey, Toilers on me. Toilers on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Every inner city has had a challenge. Los Angeles is no different than all the rest. You know, and we're right here in the middle of South Central. And I believe a lot of the programs in our area and a lot of the schools have gone through that. You see the news, you see everything that happens in South Central, from the riots of the 90s to the drive-by shootings, to the city of LA having one of the, about 10 years ago, one of the worst murder rates in the country. They see that every day. They see the Trayvon Martins. They see the police brutality. They see the gangs. They see all of that. The black and brown conflicts that are going on. And it's so hard to break away from that. It's been tough. And for a kid to be successful and get out of this, they will be stronger as they get into the real world and become an adult.
You gotta fight. That's if y'all want to keep this shit going, fellas. We still in this game, y'all gotta fight. Well, everybody got that? Yes, sir. Do all y'all want to win? Yes, sir. Let's play like it the second half, fellas. We still in it. Y'all gotta want it, man. Y'all gotta want it. Every second, every minute, every hour, y'all gotta want it, man. Y'all gotta want it. Check the net on your heart. You gotta check your heart. You gotta check your nuts. This is a football game. Y'all are football players. Let's play football. Everybody got that? Let's go!
Always try to use what they see on the streets as until, like back in my days, all the greats and all the ones that was the athletic ones, they didn't make it. You know, they was either dead in jail or, you know, hustling tough, you know what I mean? So it didn't always boil down to the ones that have the athleticism. It was the ones that bought into going to school, going to practice, being on time, working hard. Them were the ones that got the scholarships in my days, not the ones that was just all athletic. You know, it was the ones that bought into school, listened to the teachers, respect the elders, and just wanted to be leaders. You know what I mean? So I try to use that so they can buy into it.
Hey, listen up! So what we just did, they passed the torch to y'all. They passed the torch to y'all, so we gotta go from here. Let's get a break. 1, 2, 3, 4.